Well, the price you pay to gas up and to heat your home is rising today in 4 provinces. We're talking about New Brunswick, Ontario, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. The federal government's carbon tax taking effect today for individual Canadians in those provinces, as all 4 have refused to bring in their own price on emissions. Now, as for other provinces that have brought in plans, carbon pricing plans have been approved by the federal government. Nothing changes there. But again, the prices are going up in those 4 provinces today. And with that, let's go to Brett Ruskin. He leads off for us today at a gas station in Olac, New Brunswick. So, Brett, good morning to you. Take us through this price increase across these 4 provinces today.
And good morning, Michael. Well, that's right. Here in New Brunswick, one of the 4 provinces that is seeing this increase, that has seen this increase this morning of about 5 cents a litre on gasoline. Now, I've been speaking with people today. It might be because it's Monday, it might be because it's early, or it might be because their gas is more expensive, but they aren't happy about it. They haven't been happy about it, the people that I've spoken with. But let's break down exactly what we're looking at across these provinces. So we have New Brunswick, Ontario, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. They are all seeing a 4.4 cent a litre increase here at the pumps on gasoline. There's also an increase of 5.73 cents a litre for home heating fuel. In addition to that, there's 3.91 cents per cubic meter of natural gas. There's also being added to this carbon tax. There's also increased costs for propane, butane, and airline fuel as well. And so this is a tax on all those carbon-based fuels, and it's all designed as part of this carbon tax that is rolling out across all 4 provinces today. Michael.
Well, as we say, you're in New Brunswick right now, Brett, and the Premier of New Brunswick, Blaine Higgs, his government argues that this carbon tax will actually punish people in New Brunswick, especially those that live in rural areas, because there are no options for public transit. So how is the federal government responding to those types of criticisms?
Well, first of all, the federal government did offer the opportunity for provinces to enact and pass their own legislation that would meet the criteria that the federal government has put forward. And so every other province has done that. They already had carbon-based taxes in place, or they created them like the other provinces here in the Maritimes, for example. And so if you take a look at what the federal government is doing to offset those costs, the feds have promised that, well, you'll pay more here at the pumps. There is a rebate program that is also going to take effect. That is going to give back between $200, $300, depending on your province, depending on your family situation in your household, give back that money in a federal income tax rebate come tax season next year. And so that is how the federal government is saying it's going to cost you more here at the pumps, but to offset that, there is a rebate on the way. Michael.
Brett, thank you for that. Our Brett Ruskin in Olac, New Brunswick. Well, we'll have more on that, but right now we do also have some polling here that suggests that the new carbon tax is being misunderstood by voters. And as Evan Dyer tells us, that confusion is compounded by the fact that carbon pricing works differently in every province.
Now, the fact that this is a different sort of patchwork arrangement around the country is probably contributing to the fact that there's a huge amount of public misunderstanding and misinformation about how the carbon tax will work, and that has been detected by pollsters. Abacus Data, a polling firm here in Ottawa, did a survey of Canadians both in provinces that have their own plan and provinces that are being subject to the federal plan, and found that about 80% of people say that the carbon tax is having a major impact on their bottom line, or at least some impact on their bottom line. And of course, if you live in a province like Ontario, that is absolutely not the case, because it only took effect today. That survey was carried out entirely before the carbon tax actually came into effect. Also, we see a large partisan split in the polling. So while there's no regional differences really in perceptions about the carbon tax, including, for example, no real difference between areas where there will be a federal carbon tax and where there won't be a federal carbon tax, there is a large difference in the views of conservative supporters compared to supporters of other parties.
What is a driver is your partisan perspective. Conservative Party supporters much more likely to say that they feel that the carbon tax has had a big impact on their cost of living. Liberals, New Democrats, less so. And I think that points to the impact that leadership has, rhetoric on this topic, that conservatives already are anticipating their cost of living to go up and already believe it has, even though, for example, Conservatives living in Ontario, that tax hasn't taken effect yet.
And that same poll by Abacus picked up one worrying sign for the Liberal government. The Liberal government, of course, has been emphasizing that while Canadians in those 4 provinces will pay more for gas and heating oil and other products of that kind, they'll get more money back in most cases in tax rebates. But the question is, will they notice those tax rebates? Abacus data found that among those Canadians who'd already filed their taxes, a large number didn't notice the rebate line and weren't aware that they were getting back on average of about $300. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.